Call?
Mhm.
No. Sorry, not call.
No.
Go? Yeah. Oh, God, that was so good up until that point.
That was so good. Everybody.
Damn it. That was so good. All right, listen. We're going to be at the Tom Ferry conference.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Walkthrough, where each and every single week we provide you with up-to-date, up-to-the-minute, trending topics in real estate in a fun and educational way with some of the best and brightest minds in real estate. And some can even say the most 10 real estate agents in the business if you're looking at Brooks Landry right now. We have a great episode lined up here for you today. And as per always, joining me is the chief of content, the man, although he has a chronic sinus infection, he is still able to run the #1 real estate media company on planet Earth. My good friend, Mr. Eric Simon, a.k.a. the BA. Eric, how you doing, buddy? Are you still sick?
No, I'm doing way better today. I'm on antibiotic. I'm doing better than Brooks, who looks like he's in a pressure cooker right now. He looks like he just got out of the sauna. So no, I'm doing way better. I'm on 7,000 milligrams of acetaminophen Sudafed, which is basically legal meth. So I'm ready to go.
All right, let's go. This can be an incredible episode. Also joining us, recurring guest, a fan favorite. His content is helping agents all across the country. He is constantly innovating with fresh content. If you're watching, you might think he is 10, that his head is about to explode or his blood pressure is through the roof. Somebody check this guy's BPMs here. But nonetheless, we love him. Welcome back, Mr. Brooks Landry. Let's go.
I thought you were going with Dan with that until you started making fun of the head. And I step outside, my Irish skin burns. And by the way, I feel like anytime I've been on this, Eric's been sick. So let's not. I'm a healthy young man. I don't know why I get all the shit.
I don't know what
Eric's
the immune system is not doing me any favors today. But you know what? It's not about me being sick. We have a great episode for everybody today.
We do. And lastly, on today's panel,
just kidding. That was a joke.
For the first time ever, I absolutely love this guy. Generally, from the bottom of my heart. If you don't follow him, you need to. All the way from sunny Sarasota, where I will be in September. Mr. Always Smiling, Mr. Always Positive. Dan, you inspire and motivate me and probably many, many others. You're the best, buddy. Dan MacKinnon, welcome to the show. And how are you doing today?
We're doing awesome, man. Thanks so much for having me on. It's exciting to be on here for the first time. I love watching you guys from home and excited to be on. So thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you taking the time away from your the public pool today, which you appear to be at almost every single time I speak to you.
It is a private pool. I pay a lot of money to be at that private pool, so I do have to wear that with honor.
You act like he's just hanging around a public pool. He's got a kid that's doing swim lessons. He's not just,
sitting literally put me in the in sunny in Philadelphia episode where I'm just in the back in the public pool with all the kids with the watermelon.
Exactly.
I mean, the guy's always taking swim lessons. What do I know, right?
Yeah.
But, we love you, Dan, and we're really excited to have you here. Today's episode, we are talking how to properly communicate with clients. This goes over a lot of people's heads. Time blocking hacks. More on Threads after 1 week of this being announced, and much, much more. Let's have an episode. Thank you all for watching. If you are, please throw us a like, throw us a comment. Wish Eric his immune system maybe a little feel better, maybe some suggestions as to what he can do. And shout out to Diane. All right, topic number 1 is from Troy Palmquist and the BAM staff. It is titled, it's not my verbiage, this is Troy's. Hey, bruh. Maybe it's time to review professional language. Bro, bruh, sis, or girlfriend, whatever term of endearment you're using to address your colleagues needs to grow up. Yo, bro, I just sent over an offer on your listing. Hit me up and let's talk it through. Hey, girlfriend, come see me at my open house on Sunday. You're going to love this listing. This is not only for clients or this could be colleagues as well, as Troy articulates here. How to speak to somebody that you just met. People also seem, this is again using Troy's words, people also seem to use profanity a lot more than they used to. Aside from the fact that it's potentially offensive or open to misinterpretation, someone who curses nonstop just sounds kind of dumb, like they don't know real words. Think about how you are coming across in that first conversation. What Troy is suggesting is that we all take a step back and think about how we're coming across to both clients and colleagues. When you're introduced to the person who's helping you with the most important and expensive financial deal of your life, do you want them to call you by your name, or would you like them to call you bro or sis? I have a lot of thoughts on this. I agree and I also disagree, but I will pass it to y'all first. So, Mr. Brooks Landry, what did you think of the article? Do you call anybody bruh or sis or girlfriend when you're meeting them? And do you call other agents maybe when you're communicating and sending an offer? Do you call them bro?
No, it gets, excuse me. I need to know him a little bit more, right? I need to build a little bit more of a relationship. I definitely don't start it off with a bruh. I stopped using girlfriend a long time ago, but I think it's always kind of like been a pet peeve of mine. I don't know, out here, in California, everybody loves boss. All right, boss, what can I do for your boss? What else can I? And it drives me nuts. I almost think of it as almost like a poke, like a little bit of like a disrespectful type of thing. But no, I mean, we're dealing with big transactions. We are navigating people through stressful times of buying or selling a property. I don't need, a bruh, a secret handshake or anything like that in order to kind of get across the finish line. But you always get those agents that reach out to you and you're like, Dan, my man, I love your content. You're the best. Your videos are unbelievable. And it's kind of like the grease. And then it's like, by the way, what do I need to come in at to be able to get this offer accepted? So, I stay away from that 100%.
Yeah. And I think it's really important too, like when you're talking to clients, right? So I agree with your point here with dealing with agents, but dealing with clients, you need to be a chameleon, right? So it's important to be yourself, but like imagine you have to mirror the person, right? So if I'm dealing with an 80-year-old client, right, an 80-year-old seller, I'm not going to be this fast paced. I'm not going to be cursing. I'm not going to be probably hitting my vape. I'm going to slow down and I'm going to match their tonality and how they're speaking, right? If I have a 29-year-old buyer that, brings his vape around and he's, calling me bro, I don't use bro, but now I'm going to mirror that, right? So it's important to do that. And it's also very important too, when you're first meeting somebody, a client, to like everyone thinks right now, if I ask you guys, when you first meet somebody, what are you selling?
Yourself.
Nope. You're not selling yourself. That's what everybody says. You're selling the experience. You're not selling yourself. You're selling the experience of what it is like to work with you. So if there's little kids, you get down right on your knees, you say hi to the kids, you shake their hand. Everybody thinks that your first time meeting somebody, you're selling yourself, but you're really selling the experience. And this goes into it, right? And mirroring and kind of being a chameleon. So Dan MacKinnon, when you first meet a client, how do you kind of act? Like, how do you tee that up? And do you get the, yo, bro, I have an offer for you?
I think the mirror and matching is exactly what I was going to say. So that's awesome that you say that because it's so important to understand where that person's coming from. Here where we are in Sarasota, it's a kind of secondary market for a lot of people. So you're going to have a lot of people that have some extra cash to buy a vacation home, a beach home. And I'm going to tell you 99% of the time, they're not going to use anything more than Mr. or Mrs. And they're going to want super professionalism. I get ragged on by Shane Bergman all the time for wearing a suit in my my photo and stuff like that. And yet it's funny because most of our buyers are from the Midwest, church going folks that really want to know about my family, my kids and all this and that. But I will say we're starting to see a shift and see more buyers from California. And a lot of it's like, yeah, man, where do you hang out? What do you do? And I'm like, I'm not used to this telling you what I do. I usually just tell you where the nearest churches are, what the, where the parks are to bring the kids. So I think that it's an interesting thing because I'm seeing a lot more on social now. You'll see a lot more agents, throwing F-bombs and doing stuff like that, which if that works for you and that's attraction, that's great. But I'm terrified of it. So in my market, I'm Mr., Mrs. conservative as can be, wearing a collared shirt at all times. But I think that's read your market though. Their mirror and matching is perfect. Like, California is so different. Like seeing people in Southern California, saying the words they do. I have no idea. Like people showing up in t-shirts and in sandals. That's crazy to me. But at the same time, to each his own on the market. So I think I'm still learning it, but I'm terrified to make that one mistake where someone's like going to shun me off and, send me to church myself.
I think there's like a Gary Vee factor a little bit where everybody's like, hey, be yourself. The more F-bombs, the more this. It's like how boisterous can I be to kind of grab attention with it? I mean, there's a lot of agents that I work with. They'll go to listing appointments with a hat backwards and a flannel rolled up, and I'm like, whoa, I can't pull the trigger on that, but again, to each their own.
Massive agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go into like I would say 75% of my clients are in the tech industry. So they're all typed, they're all really analytical. It's the bottom line's the bottom line. It's really kind of don't BS, but let's get to the point. I love the mirror, the mimic. I'm not going to drop a bunch of swears, in front of them, but I don't know. It's just respect.
If they do that, then the floodgates are open. Like if they initiate it, then let's do it. Right. So
if they start talking edibles, then we got to roll with the conversation.
That's game on. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you about the Gary Vee point. I think that he created like a mass contagion, Byron's favorite word, of people dropping nonstop F-bombs because he was like preaching authenticity. I was like, oh my God, this is how I be authentic. I'm just going to curse a ton. And I don't think that comes across well in content. Like people could pull it off, like Matt Leonetti, if he throws in a well-timed F-bomb, I think that works perfectly because it's like, accentuating the joke. But people that are just cursing just to curse, just to, have faux authenticity, I don't think that works. Also, Brooks, what you said about how if someone says brother or something to you and if you kind of feel like they're poking you, like they're demeaning you. There's a listing agent that I worked with on this condo in Brentwood because that's the only listing agent I ever worked with. And the only deal I ever did was a condo in Brentwood. Well, 6 or 7 of them. He called me pal nonstop. It was like, every response was just like, thanks, pal. Like, see you there, pal. And I felt like I was talking to like,
you're getting sunned.
Someone older than me. I kept getting sunned. And I feel the same way with Sweetie or Hun. And I tweeted this a long time ago, but I know that's really popular in like southern states. Sweetie and Hun is actually, it's nice to hear something like that. But I feel like I'm talking to like a motherly figure or something like that. Like I'm just automatically 20 or 30 years younger than the person calling me Sweetie or Hun, even if they're the same age as me. So I would avoid words like pal, because the second you use that, you're
boss.
You're just putting someone in a position.
Big man. When people call me big man, I'm fucking 4 foot. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but I'm 4'7". A big man, I'm 170 pounds. Ain't no big man here.
Do you know if you're fat? Are you tall? Are you short? Is it short and you're making fun of me? Like, which one is it at this point? And then the whole time, and they're asking about the kitchen, and you're like, I still don't know if I'm fat or short.
Big man is literally what you call that slugger in Little League. It's like what the coach calls that like kind of heavy set 7-year-old that strikes out 5 times a game and hits 1 home run a year.
Yeah.
Just call him
I'm
big
not
man.
the first baseman or the right fielder. Okay, stop it. Stop it with it.
Yeah,
but I was talking to a friend last night, kind of on the flip side with just from women in the industry dealing with males. So she has a listing. Long story short, the guy came in and was trying to kind of butter her up a little bit, and hun this, hun that. And she's like, excuse me, stop saying hun to me. Like, you immediately are like shutting me down. She made a post about it. And then I asked her about it. She's like, there was just an overwhelming amount of people saying, I hate that. Stop it with the huns or the sweeties to the girls. If you're a guy, relax a little bit.
So
do you ever think that it comes?
You posted that on Threads, and we'll get into this in topic number 2. But you posted this article on Threads, and there was a ton of comments and engagement activity.
Yeah,
what were people saying?
This is the perfect thing to post on Threads, by the way. Better than asking people how much coffee they like, which I think you just posted right before this day.
Yeah, who does that?
Which is a great post. Don't get me wrong. It's going to get engagement, but this type of stuff creates conversation. So Nicole White, who's on The Real Word, says, I have a local agent that calls me kiddo every single time I see him, often right in front of my clients. A lot of people saying it's unprofessional. Some people said, Charlie sells Tampa. I'd rather you call me before you write it up and talk it through. But honestly, this language wouldn't bother me. I'd probably just mirror it back and deal moving forward. So a lot of people taking the mirror stance. Depends if you're talking to an old roommate or a client. Depends on if you know them personally or not.
If you show up to a showing and somebody says, hey, kiddo, like that to me is an immediate sign of disrespect. Like that would actually trigger me, where I would be like, hey, kiddo, by the way, kiddo, how many deals you do this month? Is it kiddo?
Yeah.
That would bother me, especially in front of clients.
Dealing with
a client that just wouldn't fly.
Yeah. So all my first deals were with my friends, and these are my fraternity brothers, like my boys, 25, 26 years old, like all my first deals. So, we talk shit to each other, right? But the second it was within the real estate transaction, I made sure to kind of take off that layer of myself and not be like an asshole about it, right? Like every email I sent them was formal, all the text conversations, everything was, I was still being myself, but it wasn't the way I'd normally communicate with them, because I wanted them to know that I was taking it 10 times more seriously than, meeting them at Firebirds for beers.
I think that I think that it comes from a little bit of an ignorance and comfort and confidence standpoint too. I think a lot of people get into it thinking like, hey, I can get some humor, and then that will make me be liked, and then I can go on with it. But then, like, I think it was Brooke said at the end, it's like, hey, but I have an offer for you. And I think that if more people started from that standpoint, that it's all right just to be professional. It's all right to that. You'll probably skip a lot of awkward conversations, because at the end of the day, it's like I think all of us as agents have said a handful of things that we still regret. Like, I still think about some things I said. I'm like, I can't believe I said that to that woman.
Yeah.
Very, very important too. And I love now at my point in the career too, where I'm working with people that are kind of very like-minded as me. So I'll start off very professional, and then they'll just let it fly. And I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could use these words. Like, I'm in, like I love this. But to Troy's point, I do think that there is a certain level of professionalism, whether it be meeting a client for the first time or speaking to another agent. Let us know what you think in the comments here about Troy's article. Let us know if you think my post on Threads was diabolical about coffee or not. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. On the topic, number 2 here. Don't know what to say on Threads. Use these 26 posts as inspiration. It has been 1 week, 7 days since Threads has burst onto the social media scene, and the buzz of the new app is still lingering in the air. Early adopters of Threads seem to fall into 2 categories. Number 1, those who immediately took a liking to it, effortlessly igniting conversations left and right. Number 2, those who find themselves staring at the screen thinking, I downloaded the app, but I don't know what to post. The great thing about this new app, aside from a built-in following from Instagram, is that right now, there are no rules. The only rule is that there are no rules. No algorithms, no best practices. Consider Threads a blank canvas, a place to get creative and show a different side of yourself. And really quickly, before I pass it off to Eric, I would love to read Haley Ingram's quote here in this article as I teed up for myself in just 1 second, because this is how I feel about Threads. And she also just joined the team, so keep the change. So Haley, through the Coffee and Contracts post, she said, I followed so many people on here for their tips and what not to do on Instagram. And on here, I got to see their real unhinged selves, and I am personally loving it. That is how I feel. That I share the same sentiment. Eric, you are all over Threads. You are the chief of content. Break this article down for us. What are some best practices here for Threads as agents? What can we be doing?
I'm not going to preach about best practices yet just because it's only a weekend, but I could tell you what's started working for me and what I'm enjoying most about using the app. I love replying to people. I think replying to people is 10 times more fun on Threads than it is on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, anything like that, because they're basically setting a premise for you. And then as a reply guy, or using Gary Vee's $1.80 strategy, you could go in and say something witty or smart. 1 second, I'm about to cough. Brooks, take over for a second.
I have a question, because while you cough, I do have a question. So it's very much like Apple to Android, right? Like, I like Twitter because I know how to use it, right? I know where to find things very quick. I have the following. I follow people that I want to follow. On Instagram, there were Threads now. I don't have anybody that I'm following. So they're just sending me, like, I guess, random things, right? Like, so my feed is just filled with stuff that I don't want to see. So I don't know how to, like, unfollow these people that I don't even follow. How do I follow people that I want to follow? Like, that's my biggest problem. It's like Apple to Android, right? It's just user friendly, I guess. Continue.
Yes. So sorry, what I was saying is I'm really enjoying replying and quote threading and being able to retweet or rethread and endorse, unlike you can on Instagram. On Instagram, people are expecting something very specific from me. They want real estate jokes. On this, I could provide way more value. I try to provide value in my Instagram stories or my broadcast channel with, Instagram hacks and tips and stuff like that. Some people buy it. Other people are like, why the hell am I here? Like, I followed you from a reel about like a monkey jumping up and down who just got a clear to close, right? Like, that's why they're there on Instagram. They want something very specific, and I feel shackled by the algorithm. On Threads, I do feel exactly like Haley said with Coffee and Contracts, that I could be 1,000 times more free with what I say, and I could be way more on brand with who I am as an actual person. So I am posting photos of my wife. I'm posting photos of Lugnuts, my dog, and me dunking on him and me breaking his little furry ankles, crossing him up because he can't go left, putting him in an absolute blender. As you can see, he's literally, his ankles are taped right now because I've just been destroying him harder and harder every single day. So I loved posting. I love posting stuff like that just because it shows a different side of my personality. And I could also say stuff that isn't real estate related. Like I was, threading about dude, where's my sign, or the dude with the sign guy. I don't like that guy. And that
don't you think that this is the authenticity that we were just talking about, though? The Gary Vee authenticity of saying, hey, this is who I am behind all that creative stuff on Instagram, or this is all that, our YouTube channel is perfect, but this is what I want to talk about. This is my, things going on. I like Dan. I am so used to Twitter. But Twitter to me is like political sports. That's where I get my sports updates. That I'm just going there to go to the draft. You'll find me on Twitter. Just hit any draft. It doesn't even matter. I'm just sitting there. But yet for me, Threads has become this like creativity outsource where I can read motivational quotes or different small little tidbits from authors and things. The only thing that sucks though is you can't search anything. So if I'm not already following them, or like it comes across as like a requote or a retweet or something like that, or whatever the hell it's called, I can't find anybody. So I'm at the will of someone. Hopefully Brooks comments on some, Silicon Valley mindset warrior over there so I can see it myself, but I can't find anything. So it's like maybe that's why I'm addicted to it, because it's like, there's no rules like Twitter and I'm scared to say anything about sports. So I get roasted by people. Yet here I can just, throw shit against the wall and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's
coming.
An easy transition.
So the search is coming. The following is coming. Adam Mosseri just did a post about it, Instagram CEO recently. So the search is coming, and the who you follow feed is coming as well. So it's not just going to be the people that are popping up.
It's a wild world out there. Just like, I don't know. Should I follow people? Should I not?
That's my biggest problem. Like I'm scrolling through it right now. I don't follow any. I don't want to see Ryan Pineda. I don't want to see actually like business magnets. Like what? I don't want to see this. I want to see what I'm seeing on Twitter, or I want to see, like you said, Dan, motivational stuff. And like, I want to be in the real estate community. Like what is even drip? It's drip it
seems like the algorithm is picking up people you follow or communicate with, and then whatever they post or, comment on, you'll see it. And that's all I'm seeing come across. But the posts are,
can't see that.
You get some weird stuff, man.
It's Ric Flair. It's Ric Flair in an 1890 match. Like, why is that on my Threads feed? I don't get it.
It's people that I haven't connected with, or I didn't even think I was following most of these people for a while. So then when you set up the account, it all gets connected. It's the easy transition, an easy way to kind of gain followers. But I'm like, I don't know. I never really got into Twitter. It just wasn't. I just felt like anytime it was just kind of a shit show. It's just a bully fest, right? Everybody's talking shit the entire time. Hopefully this doesn't get to that point. And I feel like we could swear because we've broed out over the last segment. So
we've all mirrored each other at this point. We can say whatever.
Exactly.
And Brooks, the reason, Twitter's a more intellectual app, Brooks. That's probably why you haven't frequented.
That's the reason. It just wasn't connecting. I was like trying to,
totally it's words. It's for bloggers and writers, people that say really witty things. So I could see why you would shy away from it.
Gotcha. I just followed because of Trump, I think is what. Oh, you can block that one.
Well, he hasn't been on it a couple of years, so maybe you're only on Truth Social, I think, is what you're talking about. But here's some other things. Go ahead.
There goes the brand.
I was gonna say back in the day. God damn it, sorry, Eric. But back in the day, I showed you that I was pretty big on Twitter. Like I used to like make jokes, and they would, it was like the Vine days. But then I had to go back and delete everything because I'm like, well, God forbid this ever gets out, in today's world, like I'm vining and I was whatever. So I feel like I have the potential to do that now on Threads. Like it's a clean slate, right? It's a brand new slate, but it's just so confusing. It's like, again, the Android to iPhone. I don't know. Sorry.
Memes work really well on Threads so far. I'm repurposing a lot of old content, which I know might suck for some of the audience, but I'm just going back and rephrasing stuff to where maybe someone who didn't follow me in 2019 is now seeing something that I posted way back then. So that's working really well. Videos, I think, suck on Threads right now. I don't like watching videos on Threads. I don't like having to turn on the volume. I don't like opening up a new window basically to see the video. So I've noticed that just doing videos, even on the BAM account, don't perform nearly as well as just text-based or image-based stuff. I'm also excited about the carousel feature on Threads and the storytelling that you're going to be able to do with having, I think you could load up to 8 photos or 8 videos at a time. So you could have a thread and have it kind of like a carousel. I think those are going to do really well. So I'm excited about it just because, again, like I said, shackles off, could be yourself. And the community that you can develop on Thread can be different than the Instagram one. And Instagram doesn't feel as much like a community. Threads does, because now I can see Brooks talking more. I can see Dan talking more. When Instagram, I'm just waiting for that algorithm to feed me something and to feed me a post about Sarasota. Like, that doesn't really show me much about Dan, but now I can hear Dan's actual thoughts on sports or something. Now I really get to know that person. So I like it so far.
Well, I think the drill down effect, like you said, though, is like you have those. I think we're now coming to a point where all these content platforms are having their space. Before, it was a battle of where am I posting, what time, how is that valuing my business and everything. And now it's setting out to long form videos there for that informative effect. Instagram's there to pop off and be a little more viral and showcase things. Threads can be more of this personality that you're really diving into who you are. Maybe that's a value piece of motivational or whatever. Maybe it's a humor piece that people can understand who you are and a little more lighthearted. But I think that it's interesting how everything's falling into place more versus a battleground. I remember 3-4 years ago, it was just constantly, what app do you use to lead generate? Now it's like everything, you have to be everywhere, and it almost has to be different. It can't be the days where we're just downloading Instagram videos and throwing them on TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, I've spent so much less time on TikTok because of Threads, and I feel smarter. I'm just reading and I feel smarter.
TikTok, was it Neil Holm or I don't remember who threaded this. Maybe it was Pinion. One of these guru guys tweeted something about how now we're not watching, women shake their ass on TikTok, and I'm actually like learning something, right? Because that is what my TikTok algorithm feeds me. My Thread algorithm is feeding me way more motivational mindset, business practices, real estate marketing, that type of thing. TikTok is just, what it is.
A marriage destroyer.
I know
what it is.
Completely. You know what it is. You know where it leads. You know what it does.
All right.
Brooks, do you even have TikTok?
What's that?
What? Do you have TikTok, Brooks?
I haven't been on TikTok for months and months and months. I mean, every now and then I'll go in and I'll have just... Well, I'm sorry?
Just waiting for Trump to get on TikTok.
All right. I'm making a commitment here. I'm just going to start letting it spray on Threads. And I'm going to dig into this. All right? I'm going to let it spray.
Dan, you need someone to just if you got a thread, just send me a text real quick, and then I'll look at it before you post it, just so I could fix some of the typos. But I do see a lot of agents doing this engagement hacking, which you could kind of sniff it out. And I'm doing it too, by the way. But when you're just tweeting a question just to get responses, I think that's going to become kind of obvious soon. If you're just saying hey, do you like peanut butter or do you like jelly? Or what's your favorite day of the week? Just like the most mundane, boring sort of just question engagement hacking things. I see a lot of that going on, and I'm doing it too, like I said, but I feel like
but
people
as it wears out, you
can
just elongate it and add some value to it.
Yes, exactly.
I think that those things. I think that as overused as those are, I think that's human nature to battle things and want to discuss or debate things. So as dumb as peanut butter jelly is now, it could be Connor to single family or whatever that shit is, or Yankees Red Sox. I don't know.
Yes,
my first ever thread was about UFOs, and I was very pleasantly surprised about. I didn't think anyone would see it. How many people replied, commented, "Wow, you guys also are into UFOs?" Now we're friends. Let's follow each other. So let us know in the comments what you think of Threads so far, how you're using it, if you're using it. And Eric, do you have your hand up? Or was that
I got one more point. Sure. The value add on Threads, just trying to add as much value as possible, I think is another route. So whether it's entertainment, funny, reply guy, or value. Logan Motoshami, Housing Wire, he's posting constant charts. Neil Holm. Jimmy Mackin is providing unbelievable value on Threads. Actually, Agents is providing a ton of value. He's giving you best practices for agents. And Actually Agents is really clever with, at the end of his threads, he gives you a reason to follow him. So he'll say something like, follow me if you got value out of this. So it's thread value. So definitely check him out because he's really good at Twitter too. And then follow Dan MacKinnon, Brooks Landry, Dan Oneil, myself, and the Now Bam account. Speaking of Now Bam, this is what you got to do. If you want to learn everything about social media marketing nonstop, if this is what you want to do every single month, courses, live streams, masterminds, digital events, a private Facebook community, you have got to get into BAMX today. It is the price of a coffee a week. It is nothing. You use code WALKTHROUGH, WALKTHRU, for 10% off the annual. That's $120. What's 10% off 120, Dan?
Kidding me?
$12 off.
12
Yeah,
bucks.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, anyway, use code WALKTHROUGH in the description. Join BAMX. We got a mastermind tomorrow with Byron Lazine, a halfway through the year mastermind. You need to attend this. So join BAMX right now. There's a link down in the description. Let's go on to the third topic, which is, I believe, rock, pebble, paper, rock, scissors, Tom Tool, something. What is it?
Rock, paper, scissors from Tom Tool. And also, you stole my key up here because I was going to say that this article, we were very fortunate enough to have Lisa Trinati come to our office yesterday, all the way from Mass, and she told us this exact scenario here. So I didn't even need to read the article, but I will for the viewers and for you guys because I know that you guys didn't read it. But also, it was live streamed in BAMX Facebook group. So $10 a month, you got access to Lisa, who's a genius. All right, topic number 3, the most important time block that no one ever talks about from Tom Tool. Tom says, I'm going to break down one of the most important time blocks. It's one that nobody talks about. If you follow me or you've been following or talking to coaches or any successful entrepreneurs, you know that time blocking is something that comes up consistently. It's something that people are always talking about. If it's not in your calendar, it don't exist. I don't even need to read this, like I said, but I'm going to anyway, whatever, keep going. Let's take a look at the rock, pebble, and sand method of scheduling your day. His good friend, Lisa Trinati, I just said that, recently broke down. Imagine a bell jar that you fill up throughout the day, right? A little jar right there, right here, right? If you're watching.
Great start visual. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In case you're watching on YouTube, that is what a jar looks like. Yeah, it's just like that.
Yeah, a little jelly bean jar, you know what I mean? A little cookie jar. Keep the change.
Brooks, hold up your smart water just for reference.
Sure.
Cheers, smart. Are we sponsored yet?
We are.
All right.
You start filling said smart water bottle with rocks first, which are the most important parts of your day. If you start with sand or pebbles, you won't be able to fit your rocks in. Rocks can include personal things or income-producing activities. These are the most important things throughout your day. Lisa told our office yesterday that one of her biggest rocks is making sure that she's home for dinner every single night with her children. That is rock, right? That doesn't move. Then you begin to put in the pebbles. The pebbles will move their way around the rocks and fit into the jar. The pebbles include things like talking to clients, client maintenance, communicating with agents about offers and negotiations, important items that need to happen, but they're just not the highest of priority items. And then you've got sand, which can be a lot of time wasters. It can be emails, it can be scrolling through social media, that sort of thing. The biggest mistakes that agents make, they're filling up a rock time with pebbles, if that makes sense. So for example, when they know that they need to be following up with clients or focusing on their rock, they are on social media, they're scrolling through threads, they're on UFO, Twitter, whatever they're doing. They're not focusing on their rock and their jar gets filled up and they basically wasted their entire day without getting their main item done. Lisa told us yesterday in the office that in her first year in real estate, when she really truly committed to it, her rock every single day was to set 2 appointments a day, 5 days a week. She would sit in the office and some days she would get it done by 10 a.m. Other days it would take her until 5:45. Do you know how much money that she made that year and how many homes that she sold by just 2 appointments a day? And she's in or out of the office, gone. I'll tell you how many. She sold 82 homes and she made $782,000 for making that her rock of just 2 appointments a day. Then she's out of the office. Do whatever you want. Go get your nails done, go play golf, whatever. So there are many different ways to time block. And if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. Dan, how do you time block and what is your preferred method? Because there are many.
Yeah, I think that I've changed up a little bit because I have 3 kids, so it's just a disaster in my life. So I have to time block. Like I don't have too much of an option because I'm a little bit more of a creative dude. My background's more creative stuff, so I'm a fly by the seat of my pants. But as I've kind of gotten into real estate, you realize how important it is to time block because of the things you need to do. And in the article, it's great because it breaks down, if people have a hard time understanding what a rock, a pebble, and a sand is, I think that Tom actually breaks it down perfectly in the fact that it's like new business. That's the most important thing we should be starting the day with, and people are only going to answer in the beginning of the day because they're so sick of hearing about anyone else at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, it sucks to hear it. I think whether you're just joining the industry, if you've been in it forever, all the calling, all the conversations, whatever, it's one of the hardest things to do. Yet we should be doing it in the morning. So I think he's nailing that. That's how I start my day. I have to time block because of that. I do think that when I started in the industry, I definitely didn't want to. I think that you say, hey, I got into the industry to, make my own schedule, do my own thing, have my own time, yet you lose more time by not time blocking and scheduling, and you're more free when you actually tie up that schedule and are able to look at it. Jesse Itzler, who's a big entrepreneur out in business world, he has this like big ass calendar, and it's a whole year of his whole calendar he writes on there. And it's one of those things that's like the next step of planning out. And he goes, hey, I can't miss out on these big things, like my kids have a certain day, or I'm going to do a certain big event that I can look at. And it made me hit it a little bit longer, because it's like you're seeing that longevity of life. But time blocking it's one of those things where once you start doing it, you're like, why wasn't I doing this for so long? But it sucks to get used to, because you have to be a slave to your own schedule.
Yeah. Brooks, what's one strategy maybe that you use to time block?
So it's funny, Dan, listening to you, when I first got into the industry, I feel like real estate, you're kind of running around like a chicken with your head cut off until you get in your calendar, or until you have some sort of system put in place. So years ago, I developed I need to bang out the most important things for me on a daily basis. And I've talked about this a ton of times, but I'm big on acronyms. It just keeps me focused. And I built out an LLC program, and it simply just stands for listings, leads, and creative. So every single day I start off with my listings, any listings I'm working on, any coming soons, any pendings, anything I need to do to communicate with those clients. And then, but kind of going over the article and listening to Tom Toole on the video, that's kind of the big rock. I'm sorry, that's kind of the pebble, I believe, maybe, because those are the conversations that are guaranteed. The big rock's more of the leads. For me, it works listings, leads, creative. After I bang out all my to-do lists for the listings, I move on to my leads. My leads, I categorize by A and B buyers, basically people that have put the time and the effort into getting pre-approved, that are open to move. We've got more of a motivated client. And then at the end of it, it's creative. So I know every single day, if I hit my listing, leads, and creative, the creative can be, email blast. It can be threads. It can be brand building. It can be, shooting content. That's at the end of the day. Every single day I'm productive. I know if I handle that LLC, I'm going to have, I'm going to be able to end the day and be like, shit, I actually got something done. Whereas, I was listening to a reel a couple of days ago, and this lady was on a podcast, and she was talking about how she breaks it down to the minute. And it's like the casino host in, Ocean's 11. Like, you wake up at this time, you walk down, and you're there by 11. You finish your muffin by 11:15. You're walking. It's like, how can you possibly do that? I'm in the middle of something. I get a call. I get an appraiser calling, wanting comps on a property that I closed on. I got to stop that. There's so many different things. So if you break it down, super simple, LLC, you'll be productive every single day.
Yep. Ocean's 11. That's one of my favorite memes ever is, but does he make you laugh? When George Clooney says that to Julia Roberts. I did that as a real estate meme like a year ago, when your client tells you you didn't get the listing, and it's like, well, does he make you laugh? It's just pretty stupid, but pretty funny.
Eric, do you time block your day? I mean, I know that you have a pretty you have Byron as a partner, so he's Mr. Accountable. So I know that you guys are at a high level here. How do you time block, right? Like, I know you have a lot of podcasts, you have content going out.
Well, what's one way that you're doing it? All hands meeting every single morning at 8 a.m. my time, so 11 Eastern. That just kind of helps quarterback the entire day. So that's meeting with the video team, the writing team, Byron, our creative director, Jill, all the producers, editors. So we could say what podcasts are going out today, what blogs are going out today, and how is this content being distributed? And then what's important? Like, what has to be plugged? Is it the Tom Ferry conference? Yes, it is. If you're going to the Tom Ferry conference, August 22nd to August 24th, hopefully you haven't bought your ticket yet. And if you have, you know what? I still think you could use this code. I think you could give them a call. No, sorry, not call.
No.
Go? Oh, God, that was so good up until that point.
That was so good. Everybody.
Damn it. That was so good. All right, listen, we're going to be at the Tom Ferry conference, August 22nd in Dallas. It is the best real estate conference in the world. Dan was there last year. Brooks was there. Dan, you're going this year, right?
Oh, yes. Come on now.
It's going to be a rager. And we're going to throw a rager on August 22nd, Bam Bash. And we got a ticket for you. It's $100 off right here. All you got to do is go to tomferry.com/SSB. There's a link down in the description. Use our promo code PRBAMSS. That's PRBAMSS for $100 off your ticket.
Wait, what is it?
PRB. Well, I just said it twice. PRB Okay, PRBAMSS. That's $100 off your ticket. You got to go to the Tom Ferry Summit. It's the most valuable conference in the game. So we do our all hands meetings, and that's kind of like the first thing throughout the day. But before the all hands meeting, I have to make sure that the hot sheet's live at 6:30 a.m. my time. So I get up around 6 and start promoting the hot sheet on Twitter, now on Threads, on Facebook, and on Instagram stories. So that's the first piece of content that goes out today. So my rocks is just making sure that every blog and every podcast is being distributed across all platforms. And then another rock is I'm posting on the Broke Agent at least once or twice a day. And that is guaranteed every single day for eternity, except for the one day I was in Thailand, the only day I missed, and my wedding day. But the reason why the Broke Agent account has grown so much is because of that consistency, because I guarantee you there will be a post. Doesn't matter what day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like there's always a Broke Agent post. That is a rock. There's always going to be a BAM post on Instagram. And then there's always going to be an email that's being distributed to our huge list. So those are the things that have to happen. Get the content out there to everybody, because we have so many people working so hard on this content. It has to be posted to social media, because not too many people just go on a website anymore. It has to be out in front of them. And then the pebbles are like me replying on Threads, me posting on Threads, me engaging with other accounts, me figuring out different ways to get more emails. Am I promoting an ebook? Am I promoting a webinar? And just trying to do all these other little things that continue to grow the brand. And then my sand, I don't know, I do push-ups every single day, basically.
You break the ankle.
That's not a bad thing, though.
Yeah, exactly. I'll cross up miles real quick. Just
this really was like the first year that I started time blocking my days, because Dan, like you, I was kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And what I started to do is realize it really holds you accountable, right? So we're all 1099 employees for the most part. We don't have a boss telling us we have to be at the office in certain hours or what we should be doing. It's really on us. So by time blocking, what I've done is I'm looking at my whiteboard in front of me, and I kind of mapped out my week, right? I have 70 hours a week that I know I'm going to be putting in real estate. How many hours a week do I need to be spending on what? So I have 20 hours here prospecting, I'll go into my calendar and block those off in 30-minute intervals. 10 on content, again, same thing. Follow-ups, team love, right? So I took that 70 hours and I broke it down into how many hours a week I want to be spending on what. And then I also, this is very important, I also have hours, I have about 10 hours for myself, right? So like it's so important to also give yourself like that me time. And while I might be golfing and people could say, oh, you're selfish for being on the course, like I need that for myself, for my mental state to be happy. I need to have that so that way I can be happy. I can smile. I can be myself to then make other people happy and really get the job done. So while people could say that free time is like selfish, you need it for your mental space.
Our boy Byron Lazine says that you got to pour into your cup first before you pour into others.
Yeah.
I mean, he says that at the 5 a.m. call. So,
but yeah, it is very important to give yourself a little bit of a break. And it's also important to time block and be in the office. So that could be office hours. It could be any of the things that I just mentioned. But if you're not time blocking, it's not in your calendar. Like we've even gotten much more organized on this show, just from Eric and I riffing the night before on topics. And of course things come up, right? Like, and you can't always commit 100%, but just turning your phone on Do Not Disturb for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's not going to kill you, right? You could always.
How do you guys do with on the road? Like, so my time blocking is great when I'm here. And one of the things that I've been working on is I'm leaving to go to a conference tonight, to Neil Holmes conference in Vegas there. Nice. And I'm horrible at time blocking or doing anything while I'm like on the road, on vacation. People are in town, people come to my house. Brooks, I know that you got family. Like, do you have that same LLC no matter what every day? Because when anyone comes into my house, I mean, I live in vacation land, but it's like, get the F out, because I'm totally off my schedule.
Yeah, so my routine, if I'm not up by 5:30ish in the gym by 6ish, I'm done. And if I was to move that later in the morning, I'm getting emails and calls, and I'm getting people reaching, and then it's a complete disaster. But yeah, with the kiddos, especially in the summertime, right? Like today's my baby's birthday. There's an 8. So after this, we have a meeting later, but then it's party all day with the little one. And so that's my time block. So yeah, so we it's tough with kids. On the road, it makes it difficult too. But I think especially, and I've seen a change in just how you guys have put this show together, right? With like we joke about like the topics 30 seconds before we hop on, but now it's like it's all dialed in, and you guys like even just kind of like Eric's transitions there. I almost cried. I'm like, God,
I had that Tom Ferry transition so good. It was maybe the best transition in the show's history, and then I screwed it up. Go ahead.
Well, it's funny because as you do it, we're all going,
Yeah,
You're really trying to focus, and I'm like,
and then I'm like, shit, there's a phone number we can call?
Send a fax. Send a fax to
I know. I was close there.
Phone number.
I can't stop thinking about that.
I learned that. I know. Well, because they have to put PR in front of them. Otherwise, he would have just done promo code BAM. But just in case you forgot, it is promo code BRBAMSS. How about that transition for $100 off? Tom Ferry.
We can cut this. I just can't stop thinking about the why, like promo code USA, promo code walkthrough, promo code broke.
Look. This is how they go. This is how they go about the promo codes. Let's not harp on the promo codes here. Right. It's fine. We're talking about paper, rock, scissors, rocks, and doing all of our time blocking and everything. But Dan, I will tell you from a content perspective, as I say on every show, if I know I'm traveling, I'm going to go speak at a conference. I know I'm going to get blasted for the next 48 hours with Dan here, which doesn't happen anymore, by the way. Hands up at the Tom Ferry. We are now Daniel Oneil and Mr. Eric Esquire Simon. We are good.
I don't believe it.
The hell was I saying?
Content on the road, content.
Yes, I prepare. Yeah. I prepare. So I prepare and bank content for that time. So I know that I'm going to be on planes. I'm going to be talking to so many people. I'm going to be speaking. Like my brain is rattled in a pretzel. I need to have content prepared for those days. So I always have 3 or 4 broke agent posts lined up, even story posts, just screenshot it on my phone and ready to go. So I could just lob those up immediately. And then obviously you could schedule these posts out, but I know from real estate, the toughest thing
for me, like schedule wise, and then we'll move on to the marketing of the week. The toughest thing for me is when I'm in my office, I get bombarded by the, hey, got a minute? Hey, got a minute? Hey, got a minute? And now I have so many got a minutes that it's 3 o'clock. I haven't looked at my phone. I haven't done anything, and now I'm just playing catch up and putting out fires the rest of the day. And it's a day ruiner. So that,
what's
that's
great?
Like the one. What?
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
You're good.
Yeah. So just meetings, like even if you're doing Zoom meetings, and I'm sure this applies to real estate too. At least it did when I was doing it. Like if you have a meeting an hour and then you have a 30-minute break and then an hour, like you want to bunch all those together. Because if you have everything spread out, then you're just kind of going meeting to meeting, podcast to podcast, Zoom to Zoom, and then you don't do anything because right after this, I have a meeting in 8 minutes. I have to pee. I haven't eaten anything yet. And then I have a meeting and then I haven't posted anything. So there's been nothing posted on the BAM account yet. And I feel this fury inside of me. Like I need to distribute this content right now. So if you have so many meetings in a row, it's good. I don't know where I'm going with this. Bunch of money.
The time blocking.
Take some more acetaminophen.
I think the time blocking is really important because if you don't, if you get into your day, then you lose track of the day. And like Brooke said, if you're not there on that first start for that first step at whatever time you get up in the morning to start, you're going to lose it the rest of the day. And then you're going to have this cloud of anxiety over you to say, oh shit, I should be posting. I should be on that. Oh, I'm going to miss this meeting. I'm late to that call. And Bobby still needs help about writing his first contract.
Yeah. And it's really tough too, like with the schedule and this, again, last point, but with the schedule, and then something will happen or we'll get in the way of it. Like there's days, I'm not gonna lie, where I get home and it's, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I don't even want to communicate with anybody because I've just, I've spoken all day. I've been on podcasts, the team and clients. And I just want to I just want peace and quiet. Yeah. Right. I don't know if you guys run into this where Emily, I'll come home and I'm like, listen, I got nothing tonight. I can't, sorry. So anyway. All right. Well, let us know what you think about time blocking. Let us know if there's any other any other implementations that you use to time block your schedule. Let us know if you learned something here because that's what we aim to do is to aim to educate and entertain. All right. On to the last topic as we do each and every single week. It is the marketing of the week segment. Bada boom, bada bing. Who do we have this week, Eric? I love that it's always a surprise because if it's a good song, we start dancing, we have fun. Yeah. It's my favorite part of the show, unless we promote a rapper or a real estate rapper that thinks he's Jay-Z. But continue.
Dan, I got a surprise for you, Danny Deals.
Yeah?
Haley, play this video. It might be someone you know.
Ooh,
say that. This is the marketer of the week. It might be someone you know. It might be someone we know very well.
Hey!
Oh, look at that. Look who it is.
Let's go.
All right, Haley, play this. This is beautiful.
Love this. I know exactly.
I'm so sick of the song.
Okay, well,
that was good.
You got to watch that. You got to watch that on Instagram. But anyway, Dan MacKinnon has. I think that thing is almost at 700,000 views now. Your reels have been absolutely blowing up. You have a page called All Sarasota.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe what this kind of alternative account is that you're running and what you're doing with the All Sarasota page?
Yeah. So before I got into real estate, I had been running an advertising agency up in Providence, Rhode Island for a bit. And so I'd been helping a lot of different people doing a lot of this content stuff for a long period of time. Then I decided to get my real estate license, and I didn't live in Sarasota. So when I moved here, I was new to that in itself. At the same time, Facebook had gotten a bunch of trouble for their sharing of information and shit like that. So I started a secondary kind of page to get as much information and email addresses as possible to build out like look-alike audiences online, because we weren't able to, say, hey, go after this person with a certain FICO score like I was able to back in the day. Which was
Could you actually target
wild.
like that? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I had a client that was a car dealership, a handful of car dealerships, and you could go down to there was pixels that would show the best FICO scores to get leases to, the worst FICO scores to send bad leases to, $0 down, stuff like that. It was bad. But when that changed, everything came back is that you needed to build a community. So and then secondly, as I realized in real estate, is like leads are really expensive. They're really expensive. And it's one of the things where every, single agent, team, brokerage deals with is, the amount to reach out to people. So I started All Sarasota, which all is a brand of local life. It's called A Local Life is all. And it's to give you an insight into the local life here in Sarasota County. So the page All Sarasota, I run a page called Visit Nokomis, which Nokomis is a coastal town here in Sarasota County. And that kind of works as a business kind of page like that too. And then I have subsidiary pages like All Siesta, All Venice, stuff like that. So those pages basically, promote the small businesses around the community, share other creators in the community. So we have actually a lot of like content creators that we share their stuff every day, restaurants, local businesses, stuff like that. We'll probably end up building it out to, when I say we, it's just me. So I built out better.
You were the swim instructor at the local
exactly.
It's like, exactly. So
but,
go ahead.
Yeah, Dan.
No. I was just going to say, so yeah, right now it's just like, social accounts, which we get, really, great engagement. I don't post that often because, to me, that's kind of like an artistic thing where a lot of them, take a good amount of time to create and stuff like that. So it's been fun. It's created, a lot of cool opportunities for me here in the city. I've gotten to know so many people from that. People know me from that versus realtor. So yeah, we're going to sit down.
So we have our office on Main Street that we've been waiting a year on now, but I've learned solely, we're more so St. Pete and Tampa than I would say Sarasota. Yeah. But I've learned more from your page about Sarasota and about the area and the restaurants and all the different people and all the different things from following your page than I could if I lived there for 6 months. And that's a huge compliment to you.
No, it's I really
if I were a consumer, you'd be my first call.
Well, I think that for me, it's always been hard because I'm a bit of a jerk about this because I went to ad school. So like for my whole life, it's advertising, it's branding, and it's so strict in my head. Where I look at all the content we're putting out, and a lot of it's for realtors, which, don't get me wrong, there's some hilarious stuff out there, some great stuff. But like for me, I had to look at who's moving to Sarasota, who wants to, get that content. And secondly, it's like, what do they want to know? I mean, people care more about kids, parks where they can bring their kid or a place to sit down when they're on vacation. Where can I go to the bathroom that's clean? Like, it's weird what people really actually want to know versus the stuff that goes viral. So I think that, it's fun that one went viral. It's great, but I think it's interesting that a lot more people find value more out of it like that. And so it's something that's interesting that I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know. I might buy a paper. I don't know. I'm an old school guy that likes print stuff. So we might do something a little bit bigger with it soon here. I have a lot of people in the city, kind of like you, that said hey, I love this so much, I want to write for it now. So we might be turning it into more of a bigger blog page and a place for that.
That's
but
sick.
Where do we get the time? That goes back to the time blocking where I time block 3 hours a week towards All Sarasota a week. That's all the time I have for me to do that. So right now it's kind of on the whole, but I appreciate the accolades and everything you said.
It's awesome. Creating a media company around your local market is brilliant. Ken Pozak does a great job at that with the Orlando Reel. That's a great model to follow. So make sure you follow Dan, the Realtor, Dan _the Realtor. Follow All Sarasota. Follow Brooks Landry, of course, the captain of Hooks. Follow Danny Deals and myself.
Yes.
Get your subscription to BAMX.
Yeah.
Walkthrough. Use the code walkthrough,
worth it.
WALKTHRU, 10% off. We'll see you guys at the Tom Ferry conference. Thank you all for tuning in to the best show in real estate. Thank you.